sabba papassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sachitta pariyudapanam etam buddhanusasanam. Theruwansaranai to everybody. Today I just wanted to talk about what I think is a very important topic, and that is how you should go on this path, the attitude kind of you should have. And this is mostly for people who are starting out, yeah, who want to get into the path, and they have an idea of what this path is, but they are not really sure. I have a lot of people come up to me, reach out to me rather, and say they want to do vidarshana, they want to practice vidarshana, but they are not really sure how to do it. Yeah, so they want to do this vidarshana, they want to get on this path, they want to practice, but they are unsure in how to go about this. Yeah, so they say they resonate with me, they resonate with some other people who deshana, they resonate with the Buddha's teachings, but they are not really sure on how to begin this path. Yeah, so this is a very common question I get. And I would say there are many answers to this, as in there's not just one thing. Yeah, because even for me, it took me a long time to find this. I searched in various places, different places. So my initial model when I was smaller, in my teen years, was that this truth is to be found in the forests. Yeah, somewhere away from human society, somewhere away from civilization, where there are some wise sages, wise monks who are there out there, and they have reached these deep stages of meditation, and they know what's up, they know what's up right there in the forest, and that is who you have to go to seek wisdom. So I gathered up the most prominent forest monasteries I could find in our country, and I went to those places. And I stayed over for a couple of weeks in these different places. And something I noticed about me when I stayed over in these places is how serious I was when I was in this practice. I was really serious. I really wanted to do this in the best possible way. So I was very rigid with myself. I remember going on this one retreat, and so there are these states called dhyanas, and the concept I had of dhyanas at the time were when you close your eyes, you go into this deep state of meditation, you start seeing these lights, and you are in extreme bliss over there, and that was my aim. So every time I sat down, it was to get into a dhyana. And I remember going on this meditation retreat, and I was super rigid with myself. I was so fixed. I would wake up, I think 4 a.m. in the morning, and a very strict schedule also given by the monastery. Altogether, I think 8 hours of 8 hours of sitting meditation, and 4 hours of walking meditation, and the rest of it was for cleaning around, eating, and things like that. And little by little, almost the whole day, the model was to get into a meditation. So either you are walking meditating or you are sitting meditating. Yeah. And so I remember one day I wasn't, and the head monk came there, and he blasted me. He was like, you're always talking, and when I was talking to him, I was shaking my leg, where you shake your leg, and he was like, stop shaking that leg. And whenever I went to get the danes, to get dane, when I looked at the person, and I smiled and said, hey, thank you for the dane, he was like, hey, don't look at them, calm your mind will flutter all over the place if you start looking at people. And so I was like, oh shit, okay, so I'm not supposed to look at anyone, I'm just supposed to I got very kind of stressed, and I got this ideal that we have to. I was very small. I'm relatively small. I think I was 18, 19 at the time. Yeah, and I got very fixed into this idea. Okay, this path is super serious. You can't really let any of these inputs come through. You have to be super rigid, super aware, super very careful, because everything out there can be an attachment. Yeah. But it didn't sit well with me. I stayed for 2 weeks, and I got this. So every time I went to meditate, I was like, okay, okay, this is what I have to do. I have to get into the breath. I have to, it has to get calm. It has to get calm. I have to enter samadhi and eventually a dhyana. So every time I sat down, it was in expectation of a dhyana. Yeah. And it wasn't, I looking back. So what happened was, I stayed like that for 2 weeks, and I got this massive headache, because I was no longer relaxed looking at my breath. It was more like in, out, and every time a thought came, I was like, shut up, to my head, so I could like stop the thoughts and everything. So that was my initial approach to what I understood, and I see that in different places, people practicing differently, people saying different things, and all I have to say to anyone listening is, try out all these things and see what works with you, see what resonates with you. If that kind of thing works with you, great, then who am I to say it's not effective? Yeah. So if that works with you, great. But that approach did not work with me. I felt that I was like suppressing, controlling, trying to be something that I was not. Again, trying to fit a perfect model, yeah, while not really allowing myself to be myself and seeing myself for what I am. Yeah. A few years later, I went to another forest monastery, and this time we went into this deep forest where there was this monk who had been in isolation, I think, for 10 months or for a long period of time, away from society completely, away from other monks also. So it was just him. And sorry about the dog barking, but I'm just going to continue. So it was just him for a long period of time, and I was fascinated. I was like, wow, look at this monk, so inspiring, going out there to practice. His aim is Nibbana, and wow, sadhu, and I was so lucky to see that. So we collected him for the rains retreat, and he came and stayed in a monastery before the rains retreat started, and I was fortunate enough to have a small conversation with him, and I told him about my problem. I said, the last retreat I went to, I was I ended up getting a headache and I couldn't really continue. And he said something very important. He said, මේ මාර්ගේ වඩන්න ඕනේ ගෙදර ඉන්නවා වගේ. Yeah. And that really struck with me. Basically, you had to go on this path like you're at home, like relaxed as you're at home. Because when we go to these different places, we try to become something else, we try to do something else, yeah? But this path is meant to be walked on in a very relaxed way, yeah? No stress at all. Yeah, if it's stressing you out, then you got it wrong, man. Like, why do this if the whole point of this is like to stress you out, yeah? So you have to be extremely relaxed. Every time you notice that you're not relaxed, every time you notice you are like stressing, every time you notice you are trying to force something, that is where you gotta take a small pause and be like, okay, is this really the path, or is this what I think the path is? Something which really helped me, which I kind of came to realize, is that it's not the path you think it is, but it's the path. Because we have a preconceived idea of what this path is, and when you go along the path, it kind of proves to you that it's not. So right now, you who's listening, if you want to go on this and you have an idea what the path is, just identify that as just an idea, yeah? Because that might not be the real path. That's just a model we create, because we always try to create a model, create a theory to understand this. But it's okay to do one because that's natural, but don't get attached to it. Constantly learn to update it. Constantly learn to let go of the older versions of what you think this is and constantly update it, Yeah. So if we actually become closed-minded, then the other one is you have to be really open-minded. Listen to everyone and everything, and see within if there is truth or not, yeah? Because if you kind of listen to one person, maybe you resonate with one person, and then you are like, okay, this guy makes sense, I'm going to cut off everyone else. I don't know if that works for you, yeah, go ahead. But then, maybe certain days pass, weeks pass, months pass, years pass, and you are still stuck in one place, then maybe it's time to be open-minded again. Me, while I really kind of fell into this, I was listening to everyone, Everyone who said something, I would give it a ear, I would be like, okay, does this make sense to me? Does this resonate with me? Is this practical? When I apply it, does it make sense? Has my raga, dvesha, moha, that is, has my desire, my anger decreased as I'm practicing this? Yeah, so there can be benchmarks as you are doing this, to see if you are actually progressing or not. So be very open-minded, because a lot of your thoughts and ideas are going to be constantly challenged while you are going on this path. It's going to be constantly challenged, and so you have to be ready for that. Yeah, you are breaking your models, you are breaking your value systems which you attached for so long in this lifetimes and many lifetimes before, probably your entire sansara. You are reversing your sansara here. Ice cream truck. You are reversing your sansara here, and that is not going to be an easy process. Yeah, it's a massive process. It's a big thing which is happening. Of course, from the outside, it doesn't look like that at all. From the outside, you just look kind of normal, but it is a big thing which is happening. So be extremely open-minded. Be open to change. Be open to anything. Yeah, because it's not the path we think it is, but it is the path. Yeah. So step one, chill out, just relax completely. Don't stress yourself out over anything. Don't, if you feel like, okay, I'm way too stressed doing this, don't do it. Just relax. Yeah. So first one, chill out. The second one, be super open. Be super open-minded. Listen and see if it makes sense. Yeah. And the other one, is actually listen to a lot of deshanas. When you start off on the path, this bit is vital. Until you get the dharma within you, until you get the concepts, you have to listen to a lot. If you don't listen, say you listen to one deshana, it makes sense. You might kind of fall out of practice unless you keep on listening. We are living at a time period where we are lucky enough, because of technology and all, there are a lot of deshanas out there. Yeah, and you can re-listen to them again and again and again and again. Well, this was not, I guess, a luxury which was there at the time of the Buddha. Of course, it had their own advantages that time period. I mean, literally, the Buddha was there, and the Asu Mahashravaka, the Maharahatan Vahanses were there, and it was totally something else at the time. Definitely, you can't compare to this time period, but it has its own set of advantages. Yeah, and one thing would be, you can re-listen to deshanas again and again and again, and you can reach out to the sangha from the comfort of your home. Yeah, some of them you can maybe email to, some of them maybe even you can call. There are so many, so much sangha out there, and they don't necessarily have to be in robes. There's so much sangha out there, so much kalyana mitra out there you can reach, and do reach them, do reach out to them. Talking, discussing goes a long way on this path. Yeah, you don't have to believe anything if you don't want to. You should always be open to discussing among one another. If this makes sense, this is an insight I had, what do you all think about this? Being very open and being in a state of discussing and constantly updating, your ideas of what this path is, your ideas of how you vidarshana, constantly updating, getting more and more of that sadharma in and flowing. Yeah, so that's really important. And initially, it could be listening to deshanas, maybe the same deshana many times or different deshanas, whatever works for you. Listen closely, listen properly, listen with the right intention. And what is your intention? Yeah, I mean, that's up to you. Why are you on this? Why do you want to walk this? What are you really looking for? This is a question you should ask yourself. Of course, I can give you my answer, but that will only be my answer. Yeah, so you have to figure out, why are you here? Why are you even listening to this talk? What's the whole point of this? What is the purpose of this going forward? Yeah. Okay. So these are some of the other points, and listening to deshanas always keeps you within that zone, because the world is filled with avidya. There are so many people chasing so many illusions of happiness, be it a profession, be it a family, be it a car, a house, be it a deep state of meditation like I was for a long period of time. We are all chasing where we think is happiness, where we think is green on the other side, where we think is the goal. Yeah, when we are again missing the point, and watching our mind constantly sell us this lie in itself is the path. Of course, I'm not going to get into that too much. All my other videos kind of focus on this aspect. Yeah. So one thing is, if you feel like you are straying out Kalyana Mitra Asura, hanging out with the Sangha, hanging out with your Kalyana Mitra, robes or no robes, finding those kind of people who are also on the path, extremely, extremely important, greatly helped me on this. Yeah. And listening to Deshanas, open-minded listening to Deshanas, extremely important. I know I'm repeating, but I just can't stress how important this is. Yeah. So that part, being relaxed, having open mind, listening to all, discussing. And the other important one, if you so far made it in this video, is your vatava. That is your gatha. Yeah. And now, I don't want you to do anything you don't want to do, because some of you, like me, are there out there who are very not really into Vandina, they are not really into saying the gathas. They are like, the Buddha Darshana is a philosophy. Yeah. So why should we really kind of do all these unnecessary practices? And the answer to that is energy, to get in alignment with this energy. There is something called the Buddha energy, an energy line which has been created, which kind of nicely, like a hand takes you smoothly on this path. It's like the East Australian current. If you watch Finding Nemo, those turtles who kind of swim and they get on the East Australian current and they nicely flow. It's something like that. There is an energy, there's a Buddha energy, and once you kind of resonate with it, your path becomes smoother. This energy is there for people on this path, this Attapurisa Puggala. So how you can resonate? One of the ways you can resonate with this energy, when you vidarshana, you kind of resonate on this energy anyway, but sometimes you might come across moments where you can't really vidarshana, or you have some sort of block and you can't progress further, you don't get it. So this kind of moments, resonating and coming into alignment with this Buddha energy is extremely important. And so that should be your intention, coming into alignment. And again, go into that core purpose. What are you here for? Why are you walking this path? Yeah. Constantly ask yourself that, and then get into alignment with this energy. And saying the gathas, how usually in culture we kind of rush through all these, like Namodas Bhagavatartha, and you say the Buddha Guna, Dham Guna, Sangguna, you really rush through them. Yeah, don't rush through them. Take time with these words, sit with these words, meditate with these words. When you say the gathas, really take your time, go into them, set intention and say it. Yeah, and then you will come into alignment, lighting that oil lamp, offering those flowers, lighting those incense sticks, may seem like superstitious beliefs, but really it is to do with energy. Perhaps I will do another whole talk on this aspect, but definitely try it out. I am not a person who is based on Shraddha, on faith. That came really difficult to me because I'm a more logic-oriented person. So these kind of practices, it was very challenging for me to start, but Kalyana Mitra, again, they told me to give it a try and see if it works. And definitely it helped resolve so many blocks I had, because I got in tune, I got aligned with that energy. And my intention was not to pass an exam or to have a good life or anything like that. My one intention was Nibbana. I put my faith, my refuge in the Buddha's teaching, and I wanted to really go forward and understand myself completely and be free from this dukkha I was feeling. Yeah, from these different stages of dukkha at different parts of your life. I accepted that I was not happy. I accepted that my life did have problems, and I wanted a genuine way out of it. And that was my intention. Yeah. Again, this was my intention. You can look inside and see what is your intention. Yeah. So even that has an important part to play. Yeah. So I hope you remember all these steps. Even going to certain places of worship, even setting a particular time could be very important. Yeah. So today I'm up early, meditating between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. is a very good time for meditation to grow. I would wake at sometimes, and you would say, hey, I don't have time to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. Well, again, it's on your priority list. So when I was in uni, I had to be in the hospital by around 7:30 or 8. And what I did was I woke up at 3, meditated from 3 to 4 a.m., went back to sleep at like 4:30, woke up at 6:37 again, got ready, went to uni. Yeah. So uh, I valued the path, so I always kind of gave it my priority because that's what I wanted to do. So you can always find time. Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to go away from all that work. Most of your work lies within your normal routine. Even if you go to a monastery, you are just getting into a new routine. It's going to be the same contemplation you are going to have. Yeah, why not do it every moment of the day in your own life? Yeah. And you have to get into a high energy state. That's the other important thing. You can't go on this path if you're on a low energy state. If you're always like sad, depressed, complaining, angry at someone, annoyed at the world, and always like, but man, this one's like this, no, this one's like this, and always in a state, always in a very down, low, negative energy state, then puta, sorry, you can't really go on this path like that. If you are resonating on a negative frequency, then you have to get into a positive one first. How do you get into a positive one? Yeah, because it's only in a positive one you can really kind of vidarshana, where you have the samadhi, where you have the relaxed mind again to kind of vidarshana. Yeah, so initially if it's too much, if the vidarshana concept doesn't sit well with you, then maybe it's time to kind of get into that plus energy state. So different things you can do. Maybe certain paths you have to really stop and look at yourself. It can be through meditation. So dana, maybe you can do some dana to the Buddha Sasana, to people who are on this path, even to like poor people who are in need. And you can set the intention like, may I be able to go on this path, may I be able to understand. Yeah, so dana, sila, bhavana, you can take certain disciplines. Again, don't stress out over anything, but yeah, so try to get into that a bit of a higher energy place. If you feel like through vidarshana you are coming to a higher energy place, then go for that. Yeah, but if you don't feel like it's not happening straight away, that's also okay. Again, listen to a lot of deshanas, talk with kalyana mitra, and little by little you will start resonating on a higher frequency. Yeah, so I think that covered most of the points of the prerequisites almost you must have while going on this path, the attitude you must have going on this path, and different ways to kind of optimize while you are going on this path. Yeah, so you will need a lot of help. This is not a journey you have to walk 100% alone. And that's important to kind of realize. There is a lot of help. The Sangha is there just for that. Your Kalyana Mitra will be there to help you along the path. The Buddha, you can always say, yeah, but the Buddha, he went away from society. Yeah, he did that because he found this on his own. He did that, so we don't have to suffer that way while doing this. Yeah, the teachings is presented to us on a silver platter. We just have to decide whether this is what we want to do or not. So this path is out there. It definitely is. I am one of them who has, who knows the peace I feel within after walking this. There are so many people out there who also walk this path, and they have their own experiences, and they've also moved into a place where they are in understanding of themselves, where they are constantly within that awareness, within that vidarshana, where they've seen themselves for what it is, where they are in the process of seeing themselves for what it is, and it's happening. There are so many people right now on it, and it's so inspiring to be alive at this time period where the teachings of the Buddha is like nicely shining again. I hope that if you have any blocks, from any of the kusalaya that I have done, if you are someone who's experiencing any blocks, may my kusalaya punya anumodam vetva, may it go out, may it spread, and may it be hetu, may it be causes for your prajnava to grow, and for you also to go on this path, fall on this path, and eventually see Nibbana. May it be so. So sadhu, and best of luck. Theruwansaranai.